So use the workshop or what we're going to do in this session. We will just to put this workshop within a larger context. So we do this workshop within it's part of a EU project called STEP, which is a project that aims to promote for equality and diversity in the STEM disciplines. So you can see that this workshop is tackle the issues on equality and diversity in the STEM disciplines in a very concrete ways. So you will get so during this workshop, you will get some very concrete tools to tackle these issues. And if you have any questions during the workshop, you can just raise your hands or interrupt us. So just go ahead. So let's continue. With that said, we will move on to the agenda of this workshop. So we will start with an introduction and a brief presentation of the theoretical framework behind this workshop. And after that, we will have a discussion on a certain topic. And then we will have a discussion on another topic related, of course, to this to dominance techniques. And then we have a recap where we discuss together all all together what we have been our reflections and insight from the discussions. So that's today's setup. So what are the aim of this and purpose of this workshop? Well, the aim is to learn about how to identify dominance techniques. And it's also how to respond and how to counteract the dominance techniques. So in what you will get is very concrete tools how to identify, to actually recognize and to become aware of what are dominance techniques, what is it about, and you will also recognize when you are being target for a dominance techniques, and also when you yourself may use dominance techniques towards others. So, so then what are mass dominance techniques? The reason why we call these dominance techniques is actually, the right term is master suppression techniques. And it's kind of maybe kind of tricky terms if you're not familiar with this term before. How many of you are familiar with this term? Have you ever heard about dominance techniques or master suppression techniques? Can you please raise your hands you know, you have a button where you can raise your hands. Is there anyone who knows this or have heard about this term before? Yeah, I can see. Kai Mikael knows the term. All right. No. Okay. So you can say that it's master suppression technique is a term that was coined or popularized by a professor in social psychology. Her name is Berit Aas. She's from Norway, and she worked in her career. She worked at the University of Oslo. You can say that it's a theory on power. It's a theory about gaining power through body languages and talk. And in Sweden, this term is quite common, also in Norway, because it was coined there. It's a very common and common term, and it's quite used in both outside and inside academia. But actually, the term originates from a theorist her name is Ingjald Nielsen, and she actually developed 9 master suppression techniques, or classified 9 master suppression techniques. But Berit Aas, she popularized the term, so it got it reached a wider audience. So it's a theory about dominance, how to gain power over other people through body language and through talk. And usually when you think of societal power, you might think of social institutions, such as when laws and policies and regulations that kind of exercise power over its citizens. But this theory put the light on how individuals can exercise power over other individuals. And this theory originates from Berit Aas. When she developed this theory, she focused on men's domination over women. She focused on the patriarchy, where male were suppressing or gaining dominance over women. But today, we know that master suppression techniques or domination techniques are used among not only men against women, but also women against women, and elderly against younger. So it's kind of used among broad groups of people. But what is also central with this theory is people are usually unaware of when they are being targeted for suppression techniques. So you might use master suppression techniques, but you are not aware of that. Also, maybe you are not aware of when you are being targeted to master suppression techniques. So, for example, if women might be called women might be ridiculed, called like my little sweetheart by men, and that's a way to neglect the women or diminish their position and their status. That could be an example of a dominant techniques. So like we said, that the 5 master suppression techniques developed by Berit Aas are the making invisible, to ridicule, withdrawal of information, double punishment, and shame and punishment. And we're going to explain what these techniques means one by one.
So making invisible is, for instance, if somebody is talking about or having a seminar or a meeting, and some people are looking in their phones, they are talking to each other, they go out, they take a coffee break, or they go out and go to the toilet, for instance. So it's showing that this person is not so important. They are invisible. Or you talk in groups and you don't talk to that person, you just talk to another person, and you kind of step and show your back towards the other person, and then you are invisible. So that could be some examples of that things. There could also be this, if we take the ridiculing, then we can say that it's, if you're laughing or making a joke about somebody, just to be funny, but it's also make them less important, you can, for instance, say that women are more sensitive, they gossip and things like that. So categorize groups of people that make them infantilizing, so like children, and using stereotypes in that thing. And the purpose is to be fun on the expense of the other person. And then we have withdrawal of information, and that could be that you have decided something on the side of some person is excluded. You have informal meetings where you decide things and all are not aware of this decision, which might be important. It can be some scheduling time for meetings or whatever. And it's a kind of informal meeting and excluding other people. And then we have this double punishment. It can be that I had a good suggestion is to, if you have to, you want to work late because you have to do a lot of things. You're a very important person at your job, but you also have to pick up your children at the preschool. So that's an example of you can't do both. It's very difficult, and you will be double punishment. Nothing will be good enough to. So that's also something it can be used against groups that that are prejudiced, used on prejudice that we use. And then blame and shame is a bit the same thing, that you always feel ashamed that you can't do what you have to do, and it's your own fault, and something is really bad, you are bad, and so on. That's the feeling you have from the environment. And this, we can say power, people who are taking your power, using the power against you. So you might recognize some of these things, and we will continue now to think.
So these are just a few examples of what these suppression techniques, how they, in a concrete situation, can look like. So normally these suppression techniques, like we said before, they are taking place by various groups, various individuals, but in this context, we are thinking especially about the master suppression techniques, how they are occurring in a workplace or in a work situation or in a student or in a education setting. So for the first discussion, we want you to think of and to talk about, or to share whether have you been experiencing, or have you what kind of master suppression techniques are visible if they are at your work or in your setting. It can be in an educational setting. And if so, in what situations, where and how did those suppression techniques occur? And just again to, because we know that it's because this is all new to you, so we have put the suppression techniques down below here again. So have you thought about this, and are those techniques, are those visible in your context? So that is the questions for the first discussion round. So we will move on to the next point of discussion, and that is, what would you think could be effective strategies? How could you handle and counteract when you are being exposed to master suppression techniques, or if you see someone else is being exposed to master suppression techniques? How would you handle that situation? How could you actually go into that situation and to meet or encounter that? Do you have any ideas? And that's what we want you to discuss now for the last minutes here, or for the last part of this workshop. But here we have some counter strategies brought up in the literature. So Anne, do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is, you are engineer, so perhaps you know the material Teflon. Teflon is very hydrophobic, so also to try to be like Teflon, not to take it into you, the oppression. So that, and also when you get this invisibility, so try to take up space instead with the body and with the voice to be more confident. For regulating, then questioning, and to ask, why do you speak about me like that, or something like that? Speak out and try to take the position in the room. Withdrawal of information was not so common, I think, but one can, if it is in your department or somewhere that you're not aware of what is the decisions, then you can demand the boss or the meeting, the leader of the meeting to be transparent and inclusive. So you can complain on that, make complaints. With double punishment, that you're not efficient with everything, so you always think that you're so bad, but then you have to make priorities and questions, speak out to other, why is it like this, and make a priority of your things, what is more important than others. And then shame and punishment, and put the blame on the offender. You don't take it on you, you put it on the offender.